The stream. My name is Lee. Today is I vote no, and we're doing Greyhawk because it's Wednesday. So, for those who are new to the channel, welcome. Hi, my name's Lee. And we do Greyhawk on Wednesdays, so that's fun. This is David the Undying. It is a Greyhawk source book. The last one written before TSR collapsed, and then it was published afterward. Well, Dicey is generally still considered the canon, especially because Carl Sargent wrote it, and he's well known in the community as being one of the greats of Greyhawk. So, it was written under TSR. They folded before they could get it published, but it had already been finalized, and they had a fan volunteer do the layout, and but it's fun. Oh yes, so there's that. We're poking around. This the nature of is you're always poking around trying to find out how to do the you're always poking about trying to figure out how to do the formatting and such. There we go. That might work perfectly. Okay, so how to format when you're learning. This is David the Undying. So, as you might know, every Wednesday we do Greyhawk, and what we do is we're going to edit the Greyhawk wiki. I'm actually kind of prepared right now, so usually I'm the beginning of streams. Oh, right, 2 more things I need to do. Sorry for patience, and let me go to here. My own and my other. Okay, so we're going live now. Okay. Then we go to the only other one. I used to bop around to try and, but for the only other one we want is this one. Um, um, I always feel compelled to say we are live, but it's really only I am live. Everyone else is live too if they pop in chat, but Greyhawk is capitalized. That would be very useful. Okay. Okay. So, welcome everyone. And now that we've got that settled, we can begin. So what we're doing, we're working on Roxas, if I recall correctly. So let me bring this up. No. Yes? No. Stop it. Yeah. So it should... No. We're gonna have to work on this. Hang on. We are gonna have to do that, and then this, and then we can... Because now it... Oh no, so it works. Wait, what is that? No, not that. Why is... Oh, hang on, I know what we did. That goes to that one. Okay, sorry, we're getting mixed up here. And this one, that one goes to that. Yay! We did it! We did it! It only took us... I've only been streaming for 5 years. Not a full 5 years, but like 4? 3 or 4. I feel like, I need Echo Boys. I'm a professional streamer. But yeah. here we are. So this goes. I mean, we're gonna do the ad break thing. Dang it! So every in the beginning, they always have first thing in the stream ad breaks where you get the last 5 minutes, and then they. So, I'm going to take coffee. Um. Mm. So it's Roxas. So let me get this to Roxas, and then we're gonna go get coffee, and then um. Okay, Roxas. Here we go. And I can show you what we did between the sessions also, which is Trixie. So we actually, I want to show you this. The temple. So I had a bit of an argument with, I guess you could say, a bit on stream with a kid about post-war cityscape. And at some point before 585, a temple of Hexter was built in the palace compound. Yep. So that was basically, well, anyway, add progress. 2 years. All right. No. All right. Apparently, not as fast as I thought I could be. Boom. Hello. Welcome back to the stream. My name is still Lee. And we are still doing Greyhawk. So, let me. Nope, no, that one stays there. This one. Yeah. Now we're trying to do the thing where we. This is part 2 of this, which is you have to make this smaller. So that works a little bit, and it's just a little bit. Hopefully you guys can still. We're trying to get this to. It's a give and take. You're always trying to do these things, and it's. Okay, so we are learning the this is the behind the scenes for those of you who want to stream. This is what you do behind the scenes to make this work. You adjust the size. So basically, I'm adjusting the size of the window itself that I have that I'm capturing for this. And then digit. All right, it's a little better. Funny thing, why is the margin on that side? Oh. I wish there was get the scroll bar and if the oh, I see, because the navigation's on this page. That's why the but if you could switch it. Hang on a second, let's see. Appearance editing. Time zones. Text browsers. Huh. Interesting. I do not know any of that means that I don't break it. So we're going back here, and we're going to Roxas. Okay, so, voila. This is Roxas. Yeah, we changed it so that when it said the temple, see, I would have thought that would go in the religion section, but I guess you could argue it goes here because so it was probably built before 756 because so point temple was built before 585, but in 576 the whole Hexter being the pretty much the main religion had already started by 576. That's I think the case for adding that date, which makes sense, which it shows in here. This that actually reflected in the wording now, so that's a good start. Um, I guess before apparently I talked to some other people. Apparently, I just had a really hard time reading it, and it was a perfectly readable sentence. Maybe before. I'm not sure on that, but apparently, how that sentence was uniquely confusing to me. So, um, but as an editor, I gotta trust that I know what I'm doing. So, but anyway, we got a between me and Kit, and we talked it out, and she explained exactly what she meant to do, and putting that in. Like I understood, and then we worked out better wording. Which I appreciate. What else? Okay, yes. So there's that. Um, the temple. Actually, um, okay. See the um, uh, we should have put that down here. That's all right. Never mind. It's fine. It's fine. That's I think why I got confuzzled. We had a whole section about why Hexter was like the big one, but okay. Let's see. Okay, Zilchus. Okay, so that's the temple to Zilchus. Are there any other temples in the city? And then we can put them in either the religion or cityscape, depending on how that works out. And oh, right, there's other stuff in the cityscape too. Hang on, let me bring this up. So we got this going. We got that. Okay, and that's If at the Undying. So there's our book. This is our source book. Roxas and the Land Over King was 29. You should go one more. It's right around where the maps are, actually. You go up one. Yeah, see, that's where the maps is. The map being the, it kind of, was set up, and because their formatting wasn't done when TSR went under, they had to, where's their room for the maps, and just stuck them in. And it, so, um, maybe we'll find the maps is helpful, for that. Roxas. Okay, so, flood, disease, treason, rivers, location, city gates. So there is a map in a book box set called Fate of Istis. That's the box set. I've already lost so much time on that. Okay, so Fate of Istis, there's is another Greyhawk thing, and they have a map. Let's see. And so when it shows like this, basically this is just, oh, if you have this map here, look at this map. Um, and these are more details on things that are marked on that map. That's why they're numbered like this, is so you can reference the map. The problem is we don't have that map. Well, I don't have a copy of the map. They're floating around, and it's cited several on the pages on the wiki. So Kit has one, and a few other people editing the wiki have them. So we're just kind of going with that. Okay. North. Okay, so north. Each gatehouse is a detachment of 40 town guard who interrogate all. Okay, so all right. So north, east, Warrior Gate, Old West Gate, New West Gate. Okay, so north, east, Warrior Gate, West Gate, New West Gate. So 5 gates. One in the north, one in the east, 2 in the west, and a 5th one, presumably in the south someplace. But depending on how, the way it's not shaped in a square. So, there are 5 gates to enter the city. I think that's worth noting. All right. Hello, Clock Rocket. Welcome, welcome. We're doing more Greyhawk today. So, yeah. Doing more Greyhawk wiki. I actually figured out last time I was talking with, we I was actually having a bit of a discussion with Kit, but both here in the chat and behind the scenes about why we referenced 576 if we didn't know when the temple was built. And the answer was that 576 is um there's an earlier source book, but it's the worship of Hexter was very well established by then, so that's the historical roots of why they built a temple of Hexter, which makes some sense. I would put that in the religious section, but it works either way. And we reworded the sentence. I'll show you actually, so that it actually makes sense. Apparently, it made more sense to other people. Um, uh, it made way more sense to people who weren't me. According to Kip. So, yeah, it made way more sense to people who aren't me. But I guess because I was so focused on the building part, because there was a cityscape section, I started to think like, well, if we put wouldn't that be in the other part? But apparently not. Okay, but yeah, it makes sense to like. You could do it either way. It's a stylistic thing, and it works here. And now the sentence, I think, is definitely a lot clearer. And let's see, already prevalent. Yeah, the worship of Hexter was already prevalent. Prevalent. I always mispronounce it. Prevalent in 576. So the temple was built sometime before 585. No one's sure exactly when, but the point being that it was already well established that he was the god of choice by 576. And since there's actually is data, we have canon data points on that. It makes sense to mention it, which tracks. We could put it in both, I suppose. Actually, it might work well in both. Hang on, we're gonna put this in both. Redundancy is not such a terrible thing, especially when people are just kind of going through in sections. Yes. Historical significance. For centuries. I don't know if it was for centuries. We don't know if for sure for centuries, but yeah, we don't have that much info pre-76. So why don't we go edit source? We're gonna reword this. If we're establishing that, yeah, yeah. So Kid had written that in. The way she structured the sentence, it was simpler, but it broke my brain. And live on stream, and I just like, I thought we're just deleting this part about 576. Not worth it. And she kind of came after this. Well, like we have, because we were going back and forth in the chat, and I was trying to figure out why she'd even mentioned it, and between that and the sentence not working, I kind of got like confuzzled because she said, well, it wasn't built then, we don't know that. And she's like, well, why even? So, but we talked after, and I understood where she was coming from. Like, okay, no, that makes sense. It's just worded weird, and we need to figure out a better way to word it. And she said, well, other people didn't have trouble with wording, which okay. And then, but she fixed it for me, and it's good, and I appreciate her taking the time to like explain this because I was really confused. And I guess calling her out for writing confusing sentences on stream is kind of mean. But okay, yes, we should also put it here if we're gonna do that. Being the official of the religion of the Great Kingdom before Ivid took over. Let's see, before Ivid took the throne. Because Ivid, yeah, took the throne. Let's see, since, at least since, okay, so since before Ivid took the throne, since at least, okay, so at least, what was the date? Hang on, now I can't remember the date. 576 we said? Yeah, 576. Yeah. Because Ivid, okay, when did Ivid take the throne? So it's at least 576. See, let me just, since before, so since well before, in which the high priest acting as ministers in many provinces, with his high priests acting, yes, Dexter's high priest, Yeah, that works. Another contributing factor was many of the companion guards, and yes, okay. So this is why they get around it, because 576. Okay, so we have this. Religion, updated the notation on timeline on Hextor worship. Okay, so we're gonna do this. So we're gonna publish this, and then I'm gonna go and check Ibid's page and figure out when he started, when he took the throne. So he took the throne. When did Ibid take the throne? He might have taken the throne in 576, actually. Yes, so 576 was the Red Death. Ibid the Fifth. When did Ibid the Fifth take the throne? Hang on, do we know? Yes. Ooh. Okay. But he definitely, if he declared Halsey to be the official god, that would mean that it was probably, um, yeah, if he was forced into the priesthood of Hextor by his father, then mathematically speaking, 122 of his, okay, until only his elder brother remained, um, um, gained the Malachite throne in 556 by hiring one of his father's. Okay, so he just had his father murdered after he'd killed all his siblings. Yep. Created the Fiend Knights, the wizard Karluk. I keep saying Karluk. So that throws a wrench in the works of that. But he definitely was the official religion before he took the throne because his father forced him into the priesthood. And since he took the throne in 556, that. Oh. It's gonna. Oh, archaeological wiki editing is trying to, like, trace sources. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna back to Roxas. And we're gonna put since before I took the throne, and we're taking that date out of the second part. I'm not. We can leave it in the first part because I think that's fair, but I'm definitely taking it out of the second part. I think that's a good compromise, and then we can go from there. Okay, because the 576 is when you have source books for. So, and the source books say, yes, definitely was Hextor worship. This was a big thing. So, we know it started before then because of the source books, but, which I think was why it was so weird to put it in. Let's see. Malachite throne. Let's see if we can't. Roxas. Sometimes, if you're doing interrelated pages, it's kind of easier than just to source through, and you're like, they'll link eventually, and they do. So, we're going to do before Ibid took the throne, and we're just leaving it at that for the religion section, because I think that is, because it's not false that it was definitely established before 576, and that's when we have data, so it's worth noting, but, that's Cityscape. Yep. Since before Ibid took the throne, leave it at that. Not centuries, not 576. Before Ibid took the throne, because he was a priest of Hextor, which is interesting. Okay. All right. Let's see. Since before took the throne. Okay. Since before. Okay. Since before Ibid took the throne. Ibid being a priest of Hextor is interesting. I did not know that. The fifth took the throne. Maybe you should specify Ibid. The fifth took the throne. Maybe it have been before his father took the throne, but we'll go with Ibid the fifth. Yes. Ibid the fifth. Yeah. This particular Ibid, just as a specification here. Okay. So, re-updated the, the timeline of Hextor worship. Alright. Yes. Re-update, because it was definitely... Okay. Alright. I am putting it like that. because I think that works the best, and then we can leave the 576 because it is something we have info on worth putting in. Then we can keep that and put it there, and then yep, okay, that tracks. Okay, so we have that. Have this. Text or compound. Knights of Doom stands short of the with Royal Crypts. Okay. Royal Crypts protected. Antipathy spell. Yes, the Royal Crypts, the gates. Alright, let's go with gates next because they were. Sorry. Gates. We have an entire section on gates here. City gates. So there were. Okay, so each gate has. Yeah. So, yeah, you have to pay, there's a toll, 2d6 gold piece, which I guess means, that's for RP, the DM would presumably roll and they charge the toll. I would say the guards would usually only charge between, 2 to 12, yeah, 2 to 12 gold pieces. I mean, we'll put, 2d6 in parentheses, but yeah, 2 to 12 makes sense. Yeah, 2 to 12 gold pieces, uh, just on a toll of 2 to 12 gold pieces. Just on a toll of 2 to 12 gold pieces, but you're paying 100 plus to get out. Okay. Um, okay. So, um, bribes. Okay. Okay, so Town Guard let you in, no problem. If you want to get out, you're paying up to 100 gold pieces, without an Imperial pass, because no one cares. Going out, people actually care. So, which is usually the opposite, but people are trying to flee and everybody doesn't like it. So, getting in is no problem. But so I'm guessing the bases are, um, 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 so, in the way it's worded, um, um, okay. It doesn't specify if those guys are as frustrated, are as strict about, um, um, okay. So, at any time that, um, yes, so, alright, we're using force. So, um, I think if you're trying to go in, the guards won't let you in if when the demons are there, no matter how much you're willing to pay. But if you're trying to get out and you go to the guards, they will attack either way. But if you're trying to get in and just walk away, they'll let you go. I think that's how this is worded. So why don't we do that? I don't know if we're gonna put the numbers exactly, but we're gonna put okay, 2 to 12 go. Okay, so 2 to 12, 2 to 6. Okay, yeah. So here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna bring this back up. City gates. Let's see. What's in the city? Cityscape. There are, religion, notations, notable individuals, demographics, Karulk. We need to, um, there's a lot we need to get to for this. This is going to take, so we're going to be doing this for, okay. Okay, the Palace Compound, Knights of Doom. Um, um, okay, so let's go. large part specifically means the Overking contains the palace. Okay, so contains the palace. We're gonna put that there are 5 gates going into and out of the city. North Gate, East Gate, Old West Gate, New Guest Gate. One to the east, called the East Gate. One to the west. 2 roughly to the west, the old one and the new one. And let's see, I got the 5 gates and a Warrior's Gate as well. That mostly is for armies. I don't know why it's called the Warrior Gate, but alright. Maybe we'll just leave the names and let people intuit where they are. Because I'm not sure even. They might have put the North Gate in the south and just called the North Gate. That might be true. If we could see the map, we'd be able to better parse where the gates are, but since we can't... Okay. There are 5 gates. That lead through the walls. The city of Rock. Okay, so the city of Roxas is walled. Roxas. I think it's just going to be gates today. Tweak on that, and then it's gates. Is walled off. And there are 5 gates. And there are 5 gates leading through. 5 gates leading through the walls. They're called the North Gate. Wait, I have the North Gate, the East Gate, the East Gate, North Gate, the East Gate, and then I don't know if it doesn't have any specifics about any of the gates. They are all pretty similar. They have 40 detachments with the guardhouse. They're very similar structure and setup, almost identical. North Gate, East Gate, the Warrior Gate, the Old West Gate, the New West Gate. Okay, the Warrior Gate, the Old West Gate. Okay. North Gate, East Gate, called... Actually, there's no the, so why don't we... called North Gate, East Gate. Not, North Gate, East Gate, Warrior's Gate. Old West Gate and New West Gate. Have near identical structure. Near identical structure and security. Which consists of... Okay, so is it Warrior's Gate with a... Warrior Gate. This is why we check these things. Okay. This is why we check. Warrior Gate. Structure and security. Hopefully that's not too... There's a truck coming through, which... Street sweeper truck coming through, so... Hopefully that's not too loud. I don't know if the automatic noise dampening... I don't know if you can hear that. Hang on. No, apparently yeah, apparently it auto docks, which is nice. It'd be nice if we could turn that off, but it's good that for this case it's good. That's the thing about mics, is that there's certain automatic noise dampening features, which is fine until you want to have a noise that would get dampened. That's the thing with Zoom as well. Fun fact about Zoom is that there's auto noise dampening, which is fine. And that auto noise dampening is programmed so that guitar sounds, the sound of musical instruments, because it isn't human voices. It's the automatic noise dampening on Zoom is meant to prioritize human voices, which makes sense if you're having a conference call or talking to your friend. You want their voice to come through more than anything, and extraneous background noise probably be filtered out. That's helpful in just making sure you can hear their voice, what they're saying. The only trouble with that is if your friend wants to sing you a song and play the guitar noise will be deemed as extraneous background noise, because Zoom doesn't understand that we want to hear guitar. When you play an instrument, you want people to hear that specific one. And so it just kind of automatically pressed guitar sounds out, which for the vast majority of the population wasn't that big a deal. You couldn't play guitar with Zoom, But if you for musicians who wanted to share music over Zoom or do Zoom concerts, it kind of became a bummer. So what Zoom did was they said, well, we'll let you turn it off. Here, just go into the settings, you can turn it off here. And that's called original sound for musicians. And so, which I think has some muffling settings where it takes out anything that's not particularly tonal, but leaves in a lot of stuff, which includes guitar, and, musical instrument sounds mostly get left in. So if you, it, as a, because I go to a lot of Zoom concerts in the Phil community, and people want to play the guitar along with their songs, everyone has to toggle the. It's a pain. Everyone has to go toggle it, and it's a whole process. So I've learned. Anyway, the reason for that is I can hear the street sweepers, but apparently you can't. So, be thankful you don't have that anyway. It's spread out. Miracle of modern technology. Oh, I do have one thing that I was supposed to have done. If you'll indulge me for just a sec. I was supposed to have texted my friend who isn't good on Discord. Said, text me when you're going live so I can come to your stream. Okay, so we do that, and now we go back to editing the Greyhawk wiki. Thank you for your patience in our distractions. Okay, so Warrior Gate, Old West Gate, New West Gate. Okay. So a gatehouse. Okay, so each has a gatehouse attachment of 40 town guards guarding it. So yeah, each of the gates has a gatehouse and 40 town guards. So let's each has a gatehouse. I guess the way it's written kind of assumed that they have gatehouses, but it's kind of implicit. But and they kind of I guess the way it's everyone's got like assumed gatehouses, and 40 guards assigned at any given time. The guards tend to can be bribed to gain access. Can be bribed for the most part. For the most part, yes, they're going to. Okay, so when they say this, actually, since they're interrogating, given time, who interrogate, anyone coming in as to their purpose, outright forbid anyone leaving. Guards are prone to accepting bribes. They usually only they usually only charge without an imperial pass. The guys are prone to accept bribes. They usually only charge. They'll usually accept. Accept 2 to 12 gold pieces. 2d6. For entering the city. Um, for enter city. Um, um, leaving, they demand um, much more. Much more. 100 gold pieces. Bare minimum. The only exception. The exception to them accepting bribes. Um, about a quarter of the time. Uh, uh, um, accepting bribes. Is if being watched by the what kind of demon creatures? So Roxas if it has demon creatures, so let's look at that again. We're going back to the not this one, this one. There we go. Back to the source book for a little bit. The demon creatures, they perch on the gates and yell at people for coming in. Um, blech. Oh yeah, so that went through. Interesting. So the text sound from the phone goes through, but the okay. Yes, the text sound from the phone goes through, but the um, garbage truck outside the window, or the street sweeper outside the window, doesn't. Interesting. As someone who does this, I'm interested in how the mics work. It's worth knowing how the mics work. So okay. Although I'm not sure because I was talking both times it beeped, so I don't know if that went through. It was just my voice that's making the mic thingy go up. Okay, but regardless, we are focusing on Greyhawk today, and we are going to get the gates done. And I think that we'll see what else we can get done. Gates. So the book says, let's see. 2d6. Yeah, getting in it's only 2 to 12. 2d6. 100 plus skull pieces. Yeah, bare minimum 100 is needed to get out without Imperial Pass. So at any time that they're spinning on Batezu will be perched atop the wall, close to any city gate. Presumably, yeah, the town guard will not dare accept bribes if there's demons. If it's demons, if it's demons, presumably those are controlled by Ivid or someone close to him. That yes, okay. So, dare accept bribes. They tend to as first attack. So anyone trying to escape or using force to try and enter will be attacked, and they use Stinking Cloud as their start opening play if they're gonna anyone trying to get out with no Imperial Pass. Okay, so that's major highway around King's Palace. 8 stripping very large smooth stones, yard or so in length and breadth. Okay. Um. Um. Okay. Ooh, interesting. They've got this road too. Um. All right, we are learning. The cityscape section is hey, welcome. Come on. Yes. Fun fact: Ivid was actually a priest of Hexdor, and he took the throne in. I was looking this up because I wanted to check on the religion section to try and anyway. I learned fun facts today. David V was actually trained as a priest of Hextor, in his youths. But that was long ago. Um, which is probably why it's official religion. Oh god, you came in just before the ad break. Okay. But we were working on because I went and checked that to go in the religious section just to double check that they all that lined up with the palace section because of things. But okay, wait. Let's see. Um, things I learned. Okay. We are going to put this back up. I'm working on the gates section. So, there's like a whole description of what the gates and how that works, getting in and out of the city. So I've been working on that. So far, we've got the thing, and then I was figuring I'd put that in at first because that's kind of there, and then the capital has the palace, and then the palace stuff, and then if we have anything else, we can also put maybe the road part goes under the palace part, but you know. But first, we're doing this. Okay, so City for Roxas. Uh, if they're watched by uh um oh hi. Yes. All right, so there's going to be an ad break. I could get more coffee and then we can go back to the gates. Oh, I've already gotten a whole I actually had a whole thing about mics and how they work. Because of how there was a street sweeper and you couldn't hear it through the mic. But yes, we've already gotten a whole tangent about microphones and Zoom and stuff because of reasons. But oh yes, so here we go. Watched by the demons. Demons that if it employs. Uh, yes. I don't know what employs. I mean, it's not like he pays them, but specifically, there are all right, yeah. Let's see, 1 minute and get more coffee, and you guys get to look at Addie, cutie pie. Um, Boom. Okay, that took longer than I did before. I'm not particularly fast at making coffee, apparently. Boop. I'm back though. I have more coffee. Um, Probably should be drinking tea, but it isn't afternoon tea with Lee, so. And we are back on how the gates do. So, okay, so what kind of demons? There's a specific type of demon. It was that hangs out at the gates. Um, but Spinagon Betezu. Spinagon Betezu apparently is the specific type of demons that tend to be at the gates. So we'll go here. A number of Spinagon. Okay, that's one word. It's lowercase. It wasn't uppercase. Um, Betsu? But, okay, Bait. Hang on. Two A's. Fate of Isis. Istus. Fate of Istus. Um, Azu. Tezu. And then Spinagon. Is that spelled correctly? Um, we should probably link it to the demon page. Um, 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 who, um, about who tend to congregate, tend to perch. Okay, so perch on the walls. About a quarter of the time. There'll be 1 to 3 of them. Any given gate. Um, any bribes. Leaves those. Um, 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 unless they attack. Yeah, if you're trying to escape or if they're attacked. So if they're attacked, if you're trying to get in and you attack them, devils rather than demons. Okay, so then we should. Okay, Betezu. Okay, if Betezu are demons, then. I mean, it didn't specify demons or devils, it specified these ones specifically. And if that's the case, then we should. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, it's. What did it say exactly? Yes. There's a 25% chance, at any time that 1 to 3 of these will be perched atop the wall close to any city gate. Yes, they hang out on the walls or on the gates about a quarter of, I said a quarter of the time because it's 25% chance. Okay, then we will change that to demons, specifically, okay. Devils, rather. Because, I think Ballsy herself is an archdevil, right? If I recall correctly, she's, Balsaphon, she's a, Balsaphon? Yeah, Balsaphon. She's a pit fiend, I think, right? Specifically number of Batezu. Okay, so no time in their presence. So string will be attacked by the creatures unless they attack. Will not be attacked unless they attack first. Yeah, because they attack people trying to escape or when attacked. Spinagon. No, Spinagon's not bad. Spine devils. Oh, that's what it is. But they are specifically Batezu. Spined Batezu specifically. Presumably they're spinier than usual. Um. So yeah, presumably they're Mitezu that are spinier than usual if that's how they're described. But you know, it's not. Um, yes, yeah. Balzaphon is female, and then Balzi is like portrayed as male in the worship houses, but Balzaphon, the pit fiend, is female. It's got some interesting. Although she can also disguise herself as a human, and when she disguises herself as a human, she's a woman. So, um, at least most of the time. Although if she would make an appearance as Ballsy, she'd probably take a male aspect just because he would be then more recognizable by those who worship at the temples. Interesting. There's some fun stuff with that, and yeah, that is an interesting take. I think it's kind of cool, actually. I mean, it's not like I know anything about flip flopping gender. What was I gonna do? Oh yes. But yes, these are regular Bazatus, not pit fiends. Right. So they don't. These are just regular old spiny demons that perch atop the gates and say 25% chance. It says 1 to 3, so 1d3. So I'd put yeah, because then it says they need 2d6 in bribe. I said, well, 2 to 12 gold pieces because that's the just let's see. They employed Stinking Cloud as a first attack on anyone trying to escape or use force. So they don't attack unless you're using force or you're trying to escape. So, which suggests that if you're trying to get in and you just walk away, Yeah, no. Yeah, she's a pet fiend, and definitely, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, because devils can probably swap whatever gender or appearance at will. So, which also would be a fun ability to have as someone who doesn't like. Yeah, that would be fun to be able to do that. Okay, creatures unless they attack first. Okay. Yes, and they attack first. Those trying to escape most certainly will be trying to leave the city without an imperial pass. Imperial pass almost certainly will be. Okay, so um, okay, okay. Yes, certainly will be. Yeah, I think that's paragraph wise. It makes sense to break to the guards accepting if we're changing paragraphs, the guards at the gates accepting bribes if they're being watched by the devils that it employs, specifically under Betezu, who tend to perch on the walls by the gates. About a quarter of the time, there'll be 1 to 3 over any given gate. 25% chance, right? And no town guard will accept any bribes in their presence, because it's scary. Those trying to get in, even with poor excuse, will not be attacked by the creatures unless they attack first. Those trying to leave, that's the one. The city with an Imperial Pass, without an Imperial Pass. If you've got one, you can get in now, no problem. Although the guards might still demand coin, even if you have one, because they're corrupt and greedy, but what are you going to do? If you have an Imperial Pass, you won't get attacked by the demons, so... Or the devils, rather, so... It's good. Okay, so... The employ Stinking Cloud as the first attack. If they attack, they usually start... if they attack, they usually start with... Stinking Cloud. They usually start with Stinking Cloud. Cloud. As the capital, and okay, so the guards at the gates, as the capital. We could do break Cityscape down a little bit, because it's a lot. Alright, well, but Worship of Hexter already prevalent, so sometime before 585, they built the big temple. Within the palace compound, contains rooms of Patriarch General. Okay, let's see. Okay, yes, they have the epic cool golems. Palace compound, Tired Knights of Doom, which still did show the Royal Crypt. The Royal Crypts are protected by Antipathy spell, non-evil alignments. It contained, it, or the Royal Crypts, it contains the bodies of the princes, House Neelix, along with the treasure personal magic items. Neelix over kings are granted burial chambers with statues and occasionally treasured magic items, but each is cremated and ashes dissolved in acid. Oh yes, there are also probably like traps. Ooh. No, I didn't. Wait, hang on. I think you were talking about because I kind of keep half like I'll like poke through sometimes. I usually like poke through every once in a while just to kind of keep an eye on things and I remember. All right, we'll specifically go to the general chat and see if there are any ones that um da, da, da. Okay. Yes. Um so that's the gates. Now wait, the crypts, hang on, the crypts are also in a separate section. So let me bring this up. Good to know there's 10 extra pages. I might poke into... Let's see. I'll poke into those in a minute. Temple of Ballsy, Temple of Cobb. We've been talking about the temples. Great Way, we're going to come back to. That'll be in the section after the Palace Grounds one, I think. Temple of Foltis, Temple of Hexter. We're going through the temples. That's why we cut all the religion section, is because there's temples. Support buildings, barracks, captain's quarters, Tower of the Dead. Okay, so... Royal Crypts, Tower of the Dead. Here we go. Barracks used by the commanding officers and the Imperial regulars and the human leaders, the Companion Guard. Okay. There's a bunch of different forces there. Okay, Royal Crypts. Powerful princes of House Nalix, many of them do their best to avoid being buried here, fearful of what Ivid might do with their bodies. Yeah, contemporary ones are, let's see. Um, um, yes, Ivid does not, interesting. Ivid doesn't want to mess with, tries not to mess with the dead relatives, but will kill the living ones, no problem. The great iron gates of the crypt complex are protected by antipathy spells. Magic traps, truly murderous kind, are commonplace among the passages and burial chambers. Many of the princes bear at least one more valuable personal treasure and magical items entombed with them, so potentially hollow treasures is great. If you would dare brave the traps, brown mold, and other natural hazards. Non-corporeal undead, ghosts, specters, wraiths, which are said to haunt the place. Oh yeah, so there's traps, and there's definitely magical traps, and ghosts. There are ghosts, okay. And wraiths and other ghost-adjacent specters. Okay, Nailic Overkings with the acid baths. Yes. Non-burial chambers containing statues, personal treasures, and the like. So they have the chambers in there, they just have their acid. They don't, nominal burial chambers, right. So they are called burial chambers, but they don't actually have bodies. I think sepulcher, is the term for sepulcher is a site that's like made into a gravestone, but there's no body or anything there. That's the technical term, if I recall correctly. I think I learned that in about someone talking about vampires. Is when the vampire comes out, it's a sepulcher because the body's not there. But let's see. Okay. So the only thing we missing from that is the traps and the ghosts in the traps. Some pages by district or something. The gates and the palace. So probably maybe if we put if we put the section with the road around the palace in with the gates, and then any other navigational ones, and then the gates, and then other things, maybe. What if we put, because the palace grounds, the royal, there's a lot of stuff on the palace grounds, so why don't we should put the palace in a section. That's what we should do. Because, powerful prisoners, royal crypts, I think the power, yes. Yes, I'm pretty sure they're on the palace grounds. Tower of the Fiend Knights, detachments, independent violation, little, okay, so, yes, I believe the palace, within the palace grounds, yes, some of this, the Temple of Balls is within the palace grounds, alright, let's put the palace separate, because I think, I'm pretty sure the tower is within the palace grounds as well, then the great ring around it that has this beautiful centerpiece and then the cobbled edges, and you can't walk on the centerpiece unless you are high status or you'll get in trouble. So, kind of being seen is like a big deal, and, and there's all all sorts of nonsense. Okay, so, new Temple of Hextor, Temple of Bacab, maybe Highway. Okay, so why don't we put as a beginning organizational one? Yes, let me put this back up, and this back up. I think as a beginning one we can do is, inside the walls. So let's see, it's 3, right? So 3, okay, so 3. Let's start with, the palace. Palace grounds. Yes. Palace of the Overking. Consider wild compound with own gatehouse guards, separating from the rest of the city. Also within the compound of various religious military centers, in addition to space for the court mage and the royal crypts. Okay, so let's see. So okay, so that's the map. So you've seen the map, and the gross crypts are inside the palace according to the map. Okay. Um, sorry, I could find a. Yeah. Hello, welcome back, Clock Rocket. So we have figured out that because there's so much stuff in the city section, we figured what we could do is break it up a little bit. And I thought the at least place to start breaking it would be to put the palace stuff separately, because there are like a bunch of buildings inside the palace proper, including the crypts, which I'm working on right now. I worked on those yesterday, and there were a few details I left out, and the wizard's tower with Karulk, which we will get to next week probably, because it's already 3 o'clock, and day job is going to have to happen soon. But let's see. But first, we're gonna add on the ghost, the palace, the crypt. Yes, the crypt. Okay, so Tower of the Knights of Doom, which shoulder to shoulder with the Royal Crypt. Okay, the Royal Crypts are protected by. Okay, so Tower of Doom and the Royal Crypts. We can keep going with that, and then I think maybe next week we can separate out the Royal Crypt maybe on a different paragraph. Then if we go back and look at the Tower of the Knights of Doom, if there's anything with the worth in the tower, we can make a second separate. Okay, so okay, why don't we do this? Okay, we're gonna put that in past the gates. Put it here for now, and then yes, and then the palace grounds. So everything under the cut is palace grounds. Everything other else goes above the ones. Temple of Bakab is in the city, but it's not in the palace, so it goes up. If we want to further separate it, we can put that later. Okay, so Nalix Overkings. Those are guarded, however. Those are guarded by many very nasty traps. Many deadly. Deadly? I believe it was deadly. The book said deadly traps, right? So, yes. So, Tower of the Dead. Bakab Tower. Okay. Fultus. Yes. Oh, and we should cite source book for the gates. The gates. The gates are on. So, 30. 29 has the gates, right? Page 29 with the gates. Yes. So the city gates. So we're going to put a site source book. Ivid. Page 29. And then also, okay, we're going to go that. Site source book. Ivid. Page 29. Okay. There we go. Minimum. Yep. Okay, so cite sources for these guys. Yep. So that. Okay. Theta Vistus Temple. Then okay, Capital. Cow's Compound. Okay. Occasionally magic items. Many deadly traps. Deadly traps. Yes, deadly traps. Right. Cobb. Okay. We'll look and see what I put in the religion section and mention anything else in there. Okay, so antipathy spells, magic traps of the truly murderous, so deadly traps, yes, are common among the passageways and burial chambers. Traps, many deadly traps. There are said to also be ghosts, wraiths, and other non-corporeal. Let's see. Ghosts, specters, and wraiths. Ghosts, specters, and wraiths. And ghosts, specters. There's probably shouldn't capitalize specters and wraiths wandering the halls. Okay, there's the ghosts, the traps, the ghosts, the traps and ghosts, and along with other natural hazards such as brown mold. Um, mold. Okay, Ivid. Right, it's all on the same page. Acid to prevent 31. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Because it does go on to 31, so. Yes, so there's that. I think that's good. Okay, so there's a good start with that. In Knights of Doom, if we can do more info on the tower, we'll separate out the paragraphs. For now, this is a good start. Tweaked. Okay, so added info about the gates. Gates. Created subsection. Palace. And moved info accordingly. Updated the crypt section. Okay, there we go. I think that's about right. That's all that we did. We put in a few more notes on the crypt. We moved the section up here and put all the palace stuff under and all the other stuff up top. And palace subsection. And we added the gates. Okay, publish changes. Yes, subsection is spelled wrong, but it's too late now. I think we've got a good start going. Alright, now we just have to wait for it to go through and hope that it's loading, and please let me do this. Load properly. Thank you. Excellent. Cityscape, the palace ground. Okay, hang on. Palace grounds. It's just one thing, but it's gonna bug me if I don't. So we're gonna fix it to the palace grounds. Now mark that as a minor edit. Minor edit. Yep. Okay. Palace grounds. There we go. The palace itself with considerable compound within its own stuff. This is the gates and the thing and the temple macabre and the palace grounds, and work on more of that next week, or if anyone else wants to. Yeah, if anyone else wants to tweak Roxas between times, um, no, I mean, yeah, it's worth counting. Honestly, yeah, if there are 9 based on the map, then that's worth having its own section, and then we can. Does it count the? Does that 9 count the over the road? I wonder. Probably not. Ugh. So if that doesn't count the road, so yeah, worth noting that there are 9. Yeah, I mean, if you have a copy of the map, you can like count it like that. It might be worth noting. I could probably find at least a picture of the map for reference, but see what's in the palace grounds, what's not for starts. Okay. Um, Fair enough, because the road is the palace. It goes around the palace, so the outside. We'll mention that next week. So next week, the road, the Wizard's Tower. Maybe we'll finally get to Karulk and his page, and then other things in the palace, other things outside the palace. We're doing Roxas Cityscape. More Roxas Cityscape next week, and probably the week after. This is going to take. There are a lot of things in this city, so we are going to chug through, but that's good. And then I don't know what we're gonna do afterward. Probably Monster Manual. I'm gonna go through the Monster Manual and see if what's there and what's um, doesn't have Greyhawk pages, and go from there. Maybe. Okay. Let's see. So thank you all for coming. You all are really cool. 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes is enough for an outro. Okay, so A, thank you all for coming. B, you guys are really cool. C, if you want to support the channel, I would say, subs, bits, all that jazz. I don't think I actually get a kickback from the... But last time I checked, it still works, so you could get 20% off, even if it doesn't actually do anything for me. What else? Oh, yeah, if you want to join the Discord, my Discord, it's fun. There's a Greyhawk Discord, too. I don't have a quick, yeah, yes. I'm glad I can hang out with you, too. Greyhawk Discord's fun, too. I don't have a link for it, though. If you want to actually go to the wiki, that's a link for the wiki. So you could go and see what we're up to and look at all the other pages that Kit apparently did like a jillion of. There's brand new ones. Fun stuff. So, there's, every day, as time goes on. I mean, I'm updating it every Wednesday. Other people are adding other stuff. We've been, it's slowly but surely becoming a full-on wiki, growing bit by bit. What else? Because there was a lot of stuff that wasn't in there when I started out doing wiki walks. They were like, "Wait, hang on. There's information. There's a whole that's the next thing is after we are gonna dig up those dragon magazines and put some more information on the halfling god of protection. That's what our plan is. That is key plan. Because I told the DM or a castle keeper for our Friday night game that I would consider that. What else? Oh, yes. So, that'll be at some point, but we're going to work for Roxas first. So, every day I'm editing. Microfill. I think that's called Instafill. Okay, so, we got that going. Actually, alright, nope, we're putting a pin in that. Our plan for today is that, raid. Yes, so I think I have to go day job. We are going to go raiding and go see friends. Which fun friends, you might say? Well, let's go see who's on. The Dutch guys are on Nixvale. I think I was recommended them by a friend. And then Epic Duck, we got the Dork Tales doing world building. Let's see. Oh, Grits is, oh, they're doing Grits is doing Cyberpunk 2077. Grizz is a VTuber who I was on a panel with at, let's see who else is on. They're doing maps, someone's doing art. Tiger's writing, obviously, and then there's the Cute Kitten ones. Trollord Games is on. Okay, so I'm going to, who you guys want to raid? Let's see. What do we do? We got friends. Let's go raiding. I think we're gonna go raiding probably Trollord. Because they're doing a lot of Gary Gygax stuff. So let's go raid Trollord because it's Grizz. You always want to raid friends, but let's go and raid let's go raid who has fewer viewers? You know what? Let's go raid Grizz. I think because Grizz is cool and friend and is playing Cyberpunk 2077. I've been working on Cyberpunk Red recently for those who watch the stream regularly. So let's go and watch. Let's go Grizz. We're raiding Grizz. We're gonna go raid Grizz. Okay, off we trot. Just go say hi. At least you don't have to, anything fancy. Just go say hi. Oh, that's Jackie. This is the winning part. Okay, hang on. Going to raid Grizz. Alright.